Hello and welcome to the Marketing Expert Journey. Today we're going to focus on measurement. My name is Amelia Michael. I work here at Google as a measurement lead in the UK team. I am really excited today to talk about what I find is a really important topic about how brands are dealing with the ever-evolving digital measurement landscape. In the last couple of years, I've been working with many customers on how to keep up with the changes that are happening in industry. Instead of talking to you about the theory behind the Google solutions and how we address it, we have invited a customer to really bring to life their challenges in dealing with building a durable foundation. I'm really excited to welcome Roman, Carwow's lead marketing analyst. You have been at Carwow for over 4 years and really helped shape their marketing strategy, from bidding to leads on a website to what's really driving revenue for their business. You have over a decade of experience in marketing and a true expert in privacy-first measurement solutions, and really helped shape Carwow to make the most of the solutions out there right now. So thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me here.
I wanted to spend the time talking specifically about how you have migrated from the way that you've previously onboarded data onto Google using offline conversion imports to the more robust, durable solution enhanced conversions for leads. Before we dig deeper into more technical pieces, I thought we'd start with a few light-hearted, fun questions. Are you ready for that?
Let's see.
The first one is, what is your favorite Google product, past to present?
That's a very difficult one. I think as an analyst, I have to go with the Google Sheets. I use them every single day. They're really, really fun to use.
Fun is one way to describe Google Sheets.
Very good one, right?
Okay, moving on to the next one. Which Google retired product would you bring back to life?
It's a very difficult one for me. I would probably go with Google Goggles. I think it would be really cool to have augmented reality every day using it.
Just like a more updated version of Google Goggles.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Okay, so a biggie. If you could, which would you choose? Would you rather unlimited Google Drive storage or free YouTube Premium for life?
I'm a huge fan of YouTube. I watch it every day, so for me, that's a no-brainer. I'm going to go for the YouTube Premium.
That's so interesting. I love Google Photos, and I think I would choose the unlimited storage.
We can split half-half.
Now that we've got the really important questions out of the way, we'll move on to measurement. Can you tell me a little bit more about Carwow and their business model?
100%. So Carwow is a car-changing destination. This is the website where you can come to, you can learn about which cars you like or which one suits you better. You can find new car for you, or you can sell the car you already have. We used to have only the new car offering, but today we also have used, leasing, and your ability to sell your old car. We're very famous. We're one of the biggest automotive YouTube channels. We surpassed about 10 million subscribers just another month. You probably heard about that one.
I love the YouTube channel, actually. It was kind of pivotal for when I was buying a new car. So I love the channel. Carwow has evolved to basically be that car-changing destination, regardless of where you are on that journey. But I guess at the core, it's a lead generation business, right? As a lead generation business, how do you determine what actually drives profit for your business?
I mean, the most important thing that measurement is never an easy thing. And especially for us, it has different business verticals and have different revenue streams, different customer journey. It's very, very difficult to make it all work. So what we use foundationally is called a measurement triangle, where we use the attribution for day-to-day operational use that helps us to optimize and beat towards. On top of that, we use incrementality tests to identify the benefits and the revenue that different channels drive to us, and model that we have been start having from the last year together with Google using Meridian. Combining it all together helps us to actually measure the success of our channels and navigate through a quite difficult time. And bringing it all together, we started last year together with Google, our internal MMM using Google's product called Meridian. This is something that's a very early stage development inside, but this is the approach for us that we use all three of them to shape our budgeting decisions and investment decisions in marketing.
I think that makes total sense, where you have three different ways of looking at measurement and then you bring them all you bring the results all together. I have been working with you for a while on Carwow, and I know that wasn't where Carwow started their measurement journey. Could you talk us a little bit about where it started?
When I joined company about 4 years ago, we used to have last click attribution. This is something that is very familiar, like a lot of people know it. It's a very classical approach to use it. However, for today's customer journey, it just does not work really well. There are a lot of up funnel and mid funnel activities, especially in the business like a Carwow, when we talk about user choosing their car or deciding to sell their car. It's a very difficult decision. So we moved from the last click attribution model to what we currently have, and it was a very long journey for us. The key understanding for us is basically finding out what's the value of each customer is and how we can pair it together with our bidding approaches and our strategies, because we have different revenue streams coming from different verticals.
What I'm hearing is you've evolved your business from basically treating all leads as equal to really understanding the value of what's driving potential revenue. What drove that mindset change in measurement?
In 2021, we acquired a new business, which is a sell my car business that allows you to sell your car. And that business by itself drives very different customer journey and average lifetime value from those consumers compared to our classical get your car business. Together, we had a very big challenge understanding how can we combine those two together and making them benefit one from another. And this is where we just realized that our last click attribution and our way approaching the system, where we treat all the conversion the same, does not work anymore because it hits its limitation. So first of all, we reviewed our attribution model and we moved to multi-touch attribution. And then as a second stage, we introduced a value-based bidding, where we understand the different customer drive different value, and we send this information to Google to adapt our bidding. Alongside all of this, we also used data-driven attribution inside Google to improve our tracking and improve our bidding. All of this together allowed us to unlock a lot of potential about both of these different products, bring other products as well, and significantly improve our bidding efforts and our marketing efficiency.
I love that about Carwow. What could have been seen as a challenge, they've actually used that as a reason to mature themselves in the measurement space. What I remember from this time when you were shifting your measurement strategy is that this was when there were lots of changes in the industry. We were undergoing changes in the regulatory space, technology limitations around cookie deprecation, click identifier restrictions were starting to impact the industry. How did you navigate both this measurement shift and the shift that was happening in industry?
So just as we started using value-based bidding and we're like, oh, this is an amazing system, we absolutely love it, the regulatory changes started to go our way and we had to go through quite a lot of difficult things. So first of all, one of the most famous, like what happened last year when we started, we needed to pass the consent signal to Google Ads to use it for bidding. And to allow this change, we had to go through a lot of changes internally. One of the first things is we definitely need to bring legal team on board to understand what are those changes, how they will impact, and how it will all work. Second thing is we definitely need to make a product changes. So we need to have engineers involved in all of this and making sure that both legal and engineers and us, we all working together as well, together with marketing. That basically means we no longer can work in silos. We had to have a strong team with different stakeholders, with people with different backgrounds working together to achieve the results. And that was a mind shift internally. So when we were able to achieve this, we also unlocked an ability to be more agile as a business and have not legal versus marketing, but rather have them together working with us on achieving better results and being compliant and working together. That mindset shift significantly improves the speed it takes to roll out things like this and changes like this.
At this stage, Carwow understands the value of revenue and kind of what conversions mean to them. I feel like you were starting to have a more agile way of working within the business to start adopting these future proofing solutions. But this is still the online space. As a lead generation business, what are you actually bidding towards?
We bidding towards events, but I need to walk you really quickly through how the funnel works so it's a bit easier to understand. So in Sell My Car business, for example, you as a customer can come to the website, list your car. Later, that car is going to go to auction and dealerships will bid towards that car. One of the dealerships is going to have a winning bid, and then the car is going to be collected from your driveway. It looks very straightforward from the consumer journey. However, that takes several days. Nobody's going to have their browser open for 3 days just so we can fire an event in their browser in Google Ads. That doesn't work. So to solve that problem, we use what is called OCI, or offline conversions import, where we send the click ID information saying that click that came to us from Google 3 days ago actually converted into a lead or an actual sale, and we send that information to Google.
What are the limitations for offline conversion import?
We're basically optimizing towards the click ID. So first of all, we need to have a click ID. So not every marketing channel that we drive will engage with the user purely based on the click. For example, YouTube, demand gen campaigns, display campaigns will influence user decisions without actually ending up having click. So we're going to lose quite a lot of interactions in that space. Besides, there are also industry changes that will limit in how much data we can actually capture and pass over. So we do lose a lot of cross-device interactions, we lose a lot of upper funnel activities, and we know it's not optimal, but in our case, there is so far, at the point when we implemented it, we didn't really have a lot of options.
So offline conversion import is what you're using to import your offline data and match back to profitability. So what I'm hearing is that there's lots of ways where the click identifier that we're using as a match key might get lost in a consumer journey, and therefore you're losing kind of attribution towards, you're saying most likely upper funnel strategies. So offline conversion import is not a future-proof durable solution. Whereas we have enhanced conversions for leads, which uses multiple identifiers to match back towards media conversions. I know that Carwow has made that transition. How easy was the transition from offline conversion import to enhanced conversions for leads?
So we didn't transition in one go. We decided that we're going to make a phased approach. Before I'm going to go into the phased approach really quickly how the current system works. So in offline conversion import, we send the click ID and the conversion value of that conversion to Google Ads. In enhanced conversion for leads, you need to send first-party data or users' PII like emails to help Google identify those users. You don't necessarily need to send a click ID for those conversions, but you need to send one or another or both of them to help Google identify that.
Great. So you need to pass customer data along with the Gclid whereas possible. Could you tell me a bit about how you ran that first stage of the test and what results you saw off the back of that?
So in our first test, we used our current setup, our offline conversions, as a control, where we have a conversion action and a value of that conversion and a click ID. And in our test group, we created exactly same conversion actions, but in this case, we send, in addition to click IDs, we also send a PII. We did not send more conversions or less conversions. The volume of conversions was exactly the same. So we wouldn't expect Google to find anything more in addition to what we already have sent. However, we would expect the redistribution of those conversions because of now we're helping Google to stitch more user journeys with the PII we add.
So the insight that you've got from the first stage is there is a bit of a reattribution of the marketing strategies that you have and reattribution. Cool. What were the results that you got from the first stage?
So exactly as we expected, we saw that upper funnel campaigns got more conversion and redistribution has happened. We saw that the change was about 6 to 7% depending on the campaign. Larger campaigns got a smaller change, whereas obviously smaller campaigns would have more drastic change. But what's important for us that these upper funnel campaigns like demand gen and YouTube, that we struggle so much in our click attribution world to attribute revenue to, saw a significant increase in number of conversions from this particular change.
At this stage, you haven't really implemented enhanced conversions for leads. What you're doing is just comparing those conversions that have a Google Click ID with those that have a Google Click ID and PII. So how do you go on to actually implementing the full version of enhanced conversions for leads?
Exactly. So the full version would require us to send all the information we have internally. And that was our second test. So instead of sending only those conversions that we know have click IDs, we decided to send all the conversions we have. And then depending on what we have, a click ID or first party data, we would assign one or another or both and let Google decide whether that user interacted with campaign or not. And that's where most of our interest came into place, because that's where the durable solution helps us to find more conversions that otherwise we would see internally.
What were the results once you implemented the full version of enhanced conversions for leads?
We were very pleased with the results, and we did not actually expect it to be such a big difference, because the overall increase of purely number of conversions that Google was able to identify was about 7 to 8%, and some campaigns have seen double-digit and sometimes even triple-digit, if it's a small campaign's percentage growth. Most of that growth went into campaigns that are less last-click journey, more upper-funnel campaigns, but they also were not just demand gen, YouTube, those PMAX campaigns that benefited from this shift, and in general, that helped us to definitely prove that Google can now, with this solution in place, see significantly more user journeys and stitch those cross-device interactions between each other much better.
Wow, what amazing results. What I'm hearing is there's two main insights off the back of this. One is recovering lost conversions with an 8% uplift. The second one is the reattribution, where the recovered conversions are impacting upper funnel channels more than lower funnel channels, at least in your case. What did the impact of these results mean for the business?
So we obviously were very excited about this solution and we wanted to roll it out. By doing these tests, we also were able to measure it and make everybody comfortable with it within a business. So as a result of this test, we transitioned our main bidding towards the enhanced conversions for leads, but we also were able to provide a proof to our stakeholders and to finance and to exec team that this is what we expect to happen. The certain campaign is going to go down, certain campaign is going to go up, but overall as a business, we can now bid more efficiently inside Google and get more out of the money we invest. So instead of making basically a fight on this, we were able to bring everybody on board with this, and everybody was very excited about this transition, and that helped us to basically have a significantly more durable solution in place and have data to prove why it's so much better.
That's a really interesting thing to hear, because we've been working around this ever-changing landscape for a while. I've never really heard advertisers taking this on with excitement, so that's nice to hear. You seemed quite thorough and thoughtful about how you've approached the testing stages. During this testing phase, did you uncover any other interesting points?
We did. So that was our original phase 1 and phase 2 testing plan. But in addition to that, we as analysts decided to have some fun, and our analyst fund is actually making another test. So we decided to test the system to its limits, and we decided a phase 3 test. In phase 3, we did exactly the same as our production conversions. So quick recap, we know all the clicks that people come to us to the website. We know all these conversions, and we send exactly all of these conversions as we do with just offline conversions, not for leads, to Google Ads. But this time we decided to raise all click IDs and just send the first party data and see how good will be Google at recognizing all these users just purely using the first party data without any identifiers. We were very surprised to see that Google was able to reconstruct about 80 to 85% of all conversions without using any click IDs, which was way beyond what we expected. We probably were expected 50 or 60%. 85% is extremely good.
first point, it's really interesting. That's a fun experiment for the analytics team. But it really does show you the value of first-party data. The fact that you strip back all the click identifiers and you use your first-party data that you have to match back. And you recovered so many of those conversions.
Exactly, 100%. And this is like business is very stressed about at the moment, especially the last year, but it's still coming. The third-party cookie deprecation is something that's going to happen. And tests like this gives us so much more confidence in the solution that we build and in durability of this solution.
So, Roman, you and your team have made significant progress in this space, right? You've implemented consent mode to deal with the changes around regulatory, that you're using more first-party data, so enhanced conversions, customer match, and then you've made your measurement strategy so much more robust by moving from offline conversion imports that uses Gclids onto enhanced conversions for leads, where you've spoke about multiple times now how you're using first-party data to really kind of recover a lot of the lost conversions that you might have seen. If I bring it back to one of the first few questions that you answered, how does that impact how you're looking at measurement and that measurement triangle that you mentioned at the very beginning?
Yeah, so last year, and with enhanced conversions for leads, we basically made it durable. We made our foundational attribution more durable, and it's a durable solution for long term. So we solved one of the problems for now that we're very confident, but it's not an end goal. This is just an unlocking mechanism for us to build on top of that. So this year and probably next year, we're going to be focusing mostly on running incrementality tests and making sure we run them quick, we can be agile with them, and we can measure as many things as possible. To do so, we had to have correct measurement in place. So one goes hand in hand with another. And all of this is going to feed into our MMM, which is basically our goal right now to improve our budget allocation.
So what I'm hearing is work on that foundational piece, make sure you're capturing as much, and then it really empowers the rest of your measurement framework that you have in place. You've shared a lot of insightful things during the session. If there was one key takeout that you could give our listeners, what would that be? You
limit me so much. Like if we talk about one key point, I would say, you know that first-party data is important, but it's probably even more important than you think. Collecting it, making such user flows that will basically help you to collect it is absolutely crucial for the business. It's not just a marketing challenge, it's a business challenge in how you structure your business. Two more advices that I would probably give is if you measure stuff, if you run tests, it's going to be significantly easier to roll things out and be comfortable about it. And after all, trying new things is fun. And finally, and probably one of the most important things is you can't work in silos. You need to bring teams together. You need people from different backgrounds, from finance, from legal, from engineering side to make and unlock these new challenges that are getting thrown at us, right? To make the measurement not only robust, but also compliant. And so it works for everybody's benefit. So this is my 3 key points: first-party data, working in cross-team collaboration, and trying new things and measuring new things.
Roman, thank you so much for sharing your exciting, insightful journey of how you've brought Carwow from a space that was quite nascent, I'd say, when their view on measurement, to a really advanced kind of place where they really understand what's driving meaningful growth for their business in a durable, future-proof way. I think that I've learned lots, and I hope everyone else has learned a lot from you sharing your experience. I hope you've enjoyed listening to Carwow's journey. If there's any other topics that you would like us to cover, please let us know via our feedback form below. And thank you so much, Roman, for your time. It's truly invaluable.
Thank you very much for having me here. And don't forget, if you want to sell your car or you want to find your new car, you can come to Carwow. Or if you want to watch something really cool on YouTube, we have an amazing YouTube channel.
Thank you so much, Roman, for joining us.